Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Book and Banter Society. I'm recording this on the first week of June, 2026. And on this episode, I am going to feature one of my favorite movies that I highly, highly recommend. And that is the creepy, disturbing sci fi horror film Event Horizon. 1997, rated R, with a running time of 1 hour and 36 minutes. Before we get started, as always, I want to say thank you. Thank you for your time. It is greatly, greatly appreciated. And also, too, don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, hit that notification bell. And in case you didn't know it, I am a writer and I do have a book, and it is called The Creeping Things and Other Tales of Madness and Mayhem. And you can find my book on Lulu, Amazon, and all over the place. I'm worldwide. Just joking. And also, too, look me up on Instagram under the Book and Banter Society. Disclaimer: the views and opinions expressed on the Book and Banter Society are my opinions and my opinions alone. I am not a professional movie critic. I am just a person that loves movies and I like to share them with you. And also, too, there may be things in these movies or things that I may say that may trigger you. There's talk of violence, gore, I mean, you name it. So I'm just letting you know you have been warned. And spoiler alert, I will not give away the ending of any of the movies, but I do talk about them a lot. So, okay, disclaimer out the way, spoiler alert out the way. All right, let's keep going. In 2015, the first permanent colony establishes itself on the moon. In 2032, commercial mining begins on Mars. In the year 2040, deep space research vessel Event Horizon is launched to explore boundaries of the solar system. She disappears without a trace beyond the eighth planet, Neptune. It is considered the worst space disaster on record. It's 7 years later, and we are now in the year 2047. And here is Captain Miller. And Captain Miller is the captain of the rescue vessel named the Lewis and Clark. Catchy little name, right? And his crew was wondering, why are we going to Neptune? There is nothing out there. And the captain tells them, hey, you know how it is. When one crew drops the ball, we got to go. So the crew is quickly getting themselves ready and getting the ship ready to go to Neptune. And they do have a visitor, and that is a doctor. He's going to go along with them. But he keeps getting in Captain Miller's way. He's trying to talk to the captain, and the captain is like, look, we don't have time to talk. We have to go. So the crew members, they strip down so they can get into these liquid filled pods. And these pods are going to protect them because their journey to Neptune is going to take 56 days. And the doctor, he's kind of like a little hesitant about it. And the guy with the cigarette is like, hey, man, don't worry, you'll be okay. All right. So it's been 56 days. The crew, they get out of the pods, they refresh themselves, they get dressed, and they're gathered around a table where Captain Miller officially introduces his crew to the doctor, Dr. Weir. And then he gives Dr. Weir the floor. Dr. Weir starts out very formal. He's like, it's an honor to be on your vessel, whatever. And Captain Miller interrupts him and tells him, look, We were on a much needed rest. It's not an honor for us. We don't want to go to Neptune. And then one of the crew members is like, why are we going to Neptune? And then the captain looks at Dr. Weir and says, yes, I would like to know as well. Why are we going to Neptune? So the doctor tells them, what I'm about to tell you is confidential, but a signal was detected from a ship, and that signal came from the event horizon. And then the whole crew at first, they're in shock because this ship has been missing for 7 years. So they're in shock, but some of them are like, man, we came back on leave for this BS? That is humanly impossible. And Captain Miller is like, sit down and let the doctor finish. So the doctor finishes and he says basically, the public was thought to believe that the event horizon, well, it malfunctioned and it blew up. But that's not the case. The doctor explains the event horizon was made so it can travel faster than the speed of light. And the crew was like, well, that's impossible. And the doctor says, well, relatively speaking, it's impossible. However, what it does is it creates a dimensional gateway that allows it to jump instantaneously from one point of the universe to another. So, Justin, one of the youngest crew members, he says to the doctor, wow, you sure do know a lot about this ship. And the doctor says, I built it. So it's like, okay, that's surprising. And they want to know, so what happened to the event horizon? So the doctor continues. The ship looked good, thrusters perfect. They had permission to go into the dimensional gateway, and then the event horizon just disappeared until now. So Captain Miller, he has an easy question for the doctor. He says, so where has the event horizon been for the past 7 years? And the doctor looks at him and says, that's what we're here to find out. Ooh, creepy. Now they're gathered around again because the doctor wants to play for them a recording, and this recording is from the event horizon. It's not a good recording and it's hard to make out. But one of the crew members, he goes, I think that is Latin, if I'm not mistaken. And so the doctor says, oh, so what is it? What is the voice saying? And the crew member says, the voice is saying, save me. So here's the crew on their way to Neptune. And getting to the event horizon is no easy task. It's a lot of the ship moving this way and that way. It was a very, very bumpy ride. But they make it, and here it is, the event horizon. And the crew is just in awe because it's such a massive ship. And the doctor, since, he was the one that built it, he's proud of himself and he's just happy to see the ship. So Captain Miller, he asked Starks, who's the lady right here, he wants to know, so what is the ship looking like? Can you get a reading? And she's getting a reading on the ship, and she says, the ship looks to be in decent condition. However, there's no gravity on the ship, and the ship is in deep cold. And there's no way there are survivors on the ship. And then a few moments later, she says, wait a second. I'm picking up forms of life on the ship, but I don't know where exactly on the ship that, the life forms are coming from. And that's when Captain Miller decides that he has to board the Event Horizon, since the machines can't get a good reading on what's going on inside the ship. And the doctor, he wants to go with him. But, Captain Miller is like, no way. Captain Miller is like, I need to secure the ship before I bring you aboard. Now, Dr. Weir, he's not too happy with that command, but hey, he's gonna roll with it. And Captain Miller tells him, since you know all about the ship, I'm gonna need you to stay on our ship to guide us through, because right now, this is where I need you to be. So Captain Miller takes with him Justin and Peters. So the three of them board the Event Horizon. And there's some cool scenes because it's zero gravity. So you see all this material and things just bypassing them. And it almost, when you're watching the movie, it's almost like it's in 3D with all this stuff passing by the screen. So it's some very, very cool effects. And look at this dead body floating around in zero gravity. But look at it. It looks like it's been shredded. Do you think zero gravity did this? I don't think so. So they're going from room to room on the ship exploring. And then Justin finds this room, and look at this. This looks like it's the core of the ship. So he gets close to it, and you see his glove. It's almost like the core right there is kind of like liquefied or something. So, what do you think Justin does? Yes, he sticks his finger in there, and what the heck? He'll stick his hand. Oh, hell, I'll just stick my arm. And then something or someone on the other side just pulls his entire body through the core. So when Justin is pulled through the core, it sets off this huge chain reaction that not only affects the event horizon, but it also affects the Lewis and Clark, because the Lewis and Clark is latched on to the event horizon. So it causes an explosion on the ship. And Captain Miller, look at that. He is blown through a door. And on the Lewis and Clark, a huge explosion happens as well. And after all the chaos is done, Captain Miller, he survives, but he wants to know, did his crew survive? Well, it turns out everyone on board the Lewis and Clark, they're fine. However, the ship isn't. It has suffered some damage, not only on the inside, but on the outside. And not only that, they only have 20 hours left of clean air. After that, they got to go. Meanwhile, back on the event horizon, they have managed to stabilize the gravity, turn on the power, and they find a video. And it is actually the last video of the crew on board the event horizon. The captain, he's introducing his crew, and he's saying they're getting ready to go through the gateway. They got permission. And that's when the video gets distorted, and there's some noises, and, well, let's just say it sounds a little creepy. And look at Captain Miller. Captain Miller's is looking at her like, what the hell was that? And she goes, ooh, you know what? I don't know, but I'll work on seeing if I can clean up the recording. And you guys, this is where the creepiness begins. So she's watching the recording, and you see her coworker is busy doing something else. Then she sees something on the recording that makes her drop her coffee, and she is in shock. So now you see Captain Miller and a crew member looking at the actual video, and it is horrific. And the next thing you know, it's so horrific, Captain Miller just stops the video. But get this, not only does he stop the video, the minute he stops it, he says, "You know what? We're out of here. Let's go. We're leaving." And Dr. Weir is like, "We can't leave." And Captain Miller is like, "The hell we are." And he tells his crew, basically, "Pack up this shit. We're out." And look, Captain Miller is serious, and the doctor's trailing behind him. And Dr. Weir is like, "This is my ship. We just can't leave it here." And then that's when Captain Miller goes, "You know what? You're right. I'm not leaving it here. Because guess what? I'm blowing this shit up." It's like, whoa. I highly, highly recommend this movie. And for you, it depends on what you're looking for because this movie is more gothic, supernatural horror than it is about fighting monsters in space. So if you're looking for monsters in space, then this isn't going to be your movie. This is more gothic horror. But not only that, the film is brutal, as you can see by the imagery that you're looking at right now. It's pretty brutal. Actually, the imagery, it kind of reminds me of Hellraiser, if you're familiar with that movie. So if you're familiar with that movie and the imagery, then you're going to be familiar with what I'm talking about with this movie. And the characters, these characters don't make dumb decisions. You know how in some of these movies, "Hello, is anybody there? Hello?" No, 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 not in this movie. You're not going to see those type of dumb decisions being made. And Captain Miller, whoa, like I said, it only took him a few seconds to watch a video, and he's like, "We're out of here." And it wasn't a lot of back and forth. No, 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 we're out. And this movie has held up great over the years, and it is beautiful to look at. But guess what, you guys? The movie tanked when it opened. It actually tanked. The movie, it cost 60 million to make, but guess what? It only bought in about 26 million. So the movie studio lost money on this movie. But it could be the movies that came out around the time this movie was released. And guess what movie? Copland. Oh, that's a good movie. Starring Sylvester Stallone, Harvey Keitel, Robert De Niro. And also the same week this movie was released, The Full Monty came out. If you're not familiar with this movie, super famous movie now. It's a British comedy about a group of unemployed, average looking British guys that decide, you know what, to make some money, why don't we do like a little strip tease, thing set up, and it was a blockbuster hit. And before this movie was released, I think maybe a week before, Air Force One with Harrison Ford was released along with Conspiracy Theory, starring Mel Gibson and yes, Julia Roberts. So yeah, so that's one of the movies. Oh, and the week after this was released, G.I. Jane came out with Demi Moore. And guess what other movie came out the same month this was released? A Lawrence Fishburne movie, Hoodlum. Love that movie. I've watched it 4 times. So yeah, so even Lawrence Fishburne was giving himself competition. So yeah, but at first the critics didn't like this movie, but over the years, just like a lot of movies, it has gained a huge cult following and people now are like, "Wow, this was a good movie." And shout out to the director, Paul W.S. Anderson. You'll know him for directing the Resident Evil franchise. Yes, and guess what? The actress in those movies is his wife in real life. Yes. And he's also done Death Race. And it's like, yes, I remember that movie. And Alien versus Predator and a whole bunch of other stuff. So check him out. And this cast, oh my God, unbelievable. Man, I don't think this movie would have been possible without this cast. This cast is solid. I could speak for an hour about this cast, each person, but I don't know if you want me to do that, so I won't. But oh my god, okay, I won't. But man, Sam Neill, oh my god. And of course, Lawrence Fishburne. You guys know who these people are. We got people from the Harry Potter franchise, the show Nip and Tuck, and you see the young black guy there. It's so funny because in this movie, oh my god, he's like, ugh. He plays one of those guys like conceited, arrogant, and it's so funny because he's the same actor in the Tyler Perry movie, Why Did I Get Married? Part 1 and 2. So if you watch those Tyler Perry movies, this actor has the same personality in those two movies that he has here. Which is so interesting because this movie was made in 1997. So, yeah, so maybe Imma have to look at it some more of his acting credits. So maybe that's the way he's cast a lot. I don't know, but you guys, this cast is solid. Thumbs up all the way. Well, guess what? Once again, we have reached the end. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate it. There's a lot of competition out here in social media land with millions and millions of people all over the place. But when you take the time to listen to me, thank you. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. And until the next episode, I hope everyone out there stays safe, take care, and see you next time. Bye.